Hello, welcome to some nature time with Pine. I'm also known as Stana, but my nature name is Pine. And so I'm sitting inside right now, and sometimes you can start that nature time off right inside or outdoors if you prefer. And today is a little rainy. So I have an orange here, and I just invite you to find any piece of fruit. Eating a piece of fruit is really healthy for you. And we end up with these peels, and of course we put them in the compost, which is great. But have you ever thought of taking an orange, giving it a good wash, and cutting it in half, and making something out of it? Now, first part of it though, have it cut in half. I always like to see in fruit, if you cut it from where it had come from the tree, it often makes a star shape. In an apple you can see a star. We can also see, I like to say in an orange, the rays of the sun. And so I'm going to invite us to do a little mindful eating. Maybe you've done this before, maybe you haven't, or you might have heard of it. And it's just taking a moment to notice your food. Often these days we're in a hurry, or we want to watch a show with a meal. And sometimes it's nice just to be with our food, considering first where it's come from, and then even just noticing, what does it look like? Noticing the color. Maybe what kind of orange you chose. Maybe even what does it feel like in your hands? Is it still wet after you rinsed it off? Maybe even having a smell. And sometimes it takes a few deep breaths to really smell something. I like to close my eyes. You probably notice I automatically close my eyes. Maybe if that feels comfortable to you, maybe let your eyes open. You know best what your body needs. I'm going to notice if one's half smells different than the other. So just choosing one of your halves to start with, and if it feels good to you, there's all different ways to do it. You can take your knife and just carve, but you don't want to carve too deeply in because we're going to use the outside peel. Oh, I might spoil it as a bird feeder. So we don't want to poke all the way through. So, but first let's enjoy it and just noticing what it's like as the knife cuts around. I can almost feel my mouth watering. Vitamin C is so good for us. Just noticing even the sound of the knife as it goes through. I think I did okay. And you can just take a spoon and scoop it. Some people like to eat grapefruit like that. You could get really fancy, depends how much time you want to take. And cut little triangles. Just notice whatever you feel like doing. And you can take your spoon, just putting it in, and taking the seed out. And even noticing what the seed feels like. Yeah, we're just giving yourself some time. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. You're gonna have that smell again. And just as you bring the spoon up to your mouth with the orange, just even noticing what it's like as you bring it to your lips. And put it in. And so I haven't bitten in yet. So just noticing the orange in your mouth. And then maybe gentle little chews. What's that like? Maybe noticing what it's like in your mouth and just letting yourself chew for a while. Sometimes we don't chew our food enough. What's it like going down? And then working your way and just being with your orange. That's a juicy one. And being okay with a little bit of silence. Often we feel like we need to fill in the spaces. And it's so beautiful to just be able to be with yourself, be with me, enjoying your orange or whatever fruit you've chosen. Maybe it's a grapefruit. Just noticing what it's like to be with this orange. This one's really nice. You might need to dig in. Everyone eats things differently. So just following what your body wants to do in this moment. I don't feel like eating the seeds. Maybe even getting a little of the juice. And this one's really stuck in there, so I'm gonna dig a bit. I almost feel like I'm carving a pumpkin. Pull my knife out of the way. So just, and we're always told not to play with your food. It's okay to play with your food right now. I think I feel like pulling it all the way out. And I will eat that massive orange. But I'm gonna work with this part. Yeah, I wanna try and get the, I'm gonna have a little bit of the juice. And I have washed my orange really well. I use soap and water and lots of rinsing. But I'm just giving it a nice scrape, getting sprayed a little bit. Even noticing what that's like. And I wonder if there's any little stories or memories of being with this fruit that you're with that might be coming up for you. I'm remembering a time I was on an airplane and decided to snack on an orange, and someone was in a really fancy outfit. It's not, I don't recommend oranges for being on an airplane. Or another time actually being in a whole grove of oranges, seeing where they actually come from. This is chewier. I'm just even noticing what it feels like inside the orange. I'm digging a bit more, trying to get the juice out. And I'm going to enjoy this more of my orange, but I'll let you know what I'll do is I'm going to dry this out. Let it dry for the day. Maybe dig at it a little bit more. And I'll play with my food some more. And any little bits that I'm not going to eat, I'll make sure they go in the compost so they go back to the earth. Make some beautiful soil for more plants. It's much more fun to be eating with my fingers. That's how I normally eat an orange. So, So my plan is again to dry this out, but I can actually, I'm going to experiment with different ways because we all have different tools at home. I'm going to try with the pen. What we want to do is make 2 holes on either side so we can attach our twine and then hang our orange up as a little bird feeder. And you can even draw little decorations on it. You can really fancy it up if you like. Oh yes, the pen worked beautifully. Excellent. And so I gave a little bit of space. So if you go too close to the top, then it might break through. So I have a nice spot, and I'm going to go through the other way, and I just do a gentle twist. And still just even noticing the orange feels like, and it smells like. And then just trying to eyeball it, but no, putting the next hole just straight across as much as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just a place to put your twine in. You can make bird feeders out of all sorts of things. I thought the orange ones are just so pretty and bright and can attract our feathered friends. Then you can take some twine. And sure, if your hands are still a little damp, that's okay. And just put the twine through. You could choose to tie it like this. Maybe that's how you'd like to do it. Or maybe you have another way. Here. So you can make a shorter string, or perhaps you want to join two together. Just play around. You can even learn all different knots and how to put them together. So I've chosen a little reef knot. And then another way, you could pop it through. Just have to kind of ease it through. If you don't have twine, you might have string. Be creative, just like the birds. When they're building their nest, they look around their environment to see what's there. And so work with what you have in your home. Maybe you don't have oranges, maybe you have an avocado. Or I mentioned before, a grapefruit. So just thinking of anything with a peel, maybe a pomegranate. And you'll notice so I did a different way of tying it. There's all sorts of ways, a little knot in the end. So you find the way that feels best to you. Then you have your little feeder. And again, I would recommend drying it out a bit. So I'll give it the day. And then I would just take just a little bit of seed and find a spot to hang your little feeder, preferably in a bush that has other bushes around. Birds like to have places to perch. And yeah, maybe sit back. I think I'll hang mine outside and maybe bring the rest of my orange and just enjoy the taste of it, the feel of it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little nature time with Pine, building a little orange feeder and giving yourself a chance to connect in with our feathered friends. Thanks for joining me, and maybe you can teach your friends and family a little bit about mindful eating too. When we slow down like that and get ourselves into our senses, it allows us to really get in connection with all the beings that might show up around us. Thanks, everyone.